I've always avoided thinking about any potential regrets like the plague because not only do I have about a million things that would be fair for me to regret, I just feel like with my personality type and everything else and my mental problems, it just would be it's all too easy for me to get sucked into a very dark place if I spend even a second thinking about regret. But at the same time, I think regret is probably there for a reason. It serves a purpose to really ensure that we don't make certain mistakes more than once. I just don't want to be that guy that's living in regret. And it's just so easy, far too easy for me to slip into that mental place with the choices I've made in my life and stuff. And I think that's true probably for a lot of people, and I relate to that. So I just really fear slipping into that mindset because I really don't want to tarnish my life and ruin my life by operating in my life that way, by living my life that way. And it's just so easy to slip into getting stuck living that way in constant regret and it just totally ruining your quality of life, But this past year or so, something's been kind of poking at me to try to pick 1 to 3 maybe of my life's biggest regrets. Just identify them. Just identify them. Know I've identified them and leave them alone. So I'm not totally abandoning, because I think maybe I'm not supposed to totally abandon the existence of things I regret, because that's what I've been doing, and maybe that could fuck me over. I think I finally figured out the 3 things if I had to choose only 3, which is a really hard choice. I think the first thing I regret, my time / lived my life / treated and dealt every person I encountered in the last 24 to 48 hours leading up to someone very close to me. His name was Dude Man. Leading up to his death. The last 24 to 48 hours of my life leading up to his death. Specifically how I treated him and dealt with him and handled our conversations and all that. I regret that. Number 1. Number 2, I regret when I had my ex. He's still legally my husband. I don't know what the future holds. I technically left the relationship a few years ago, but we'll see what happens when he gets out of prison. But anyway, my ex-boyfriend, what are we going to call him? We'll call him his name, Mark. I remember having Mark in my bedroom the first, and this may have been the only time he asked me. Maybe it wasn't, but I think this was the first time he asked me and was really almost begging me to let him take us, the 2 of us, back to his mom's house in Tacoma. That's a big one. That's a heavy one. That's the first regret I actually was able to identify right off the bat. That I identified the quickest. There's a lot of reasons why I wasn't quick to identify my other 2 regrets, as obvious as it may seem to other people, to why would those not be obvious regrets to identify? But if you knew all the things I had in my life to choose from to regret, maybe you'd understand. But that was the first one that I identified and the quickest. That just made the most sense to me, like, immediately. I almost totally forgot. Part of what blows me away about me regretting not going back with Mark to his mom's in Tacoma is how I came this close to totally, completely forgetting that I ever even made that mistake, because just after the initial conversation happened in my room, I pretty much never fucking thought about it ever again, and I just didn't realize. It just blows me away in retrospect when I think about now how much that would have actually changed. Because there's a lot of things in life that are inevitable. But I feel like at the point in time that that conversation happened, that's going back far enough that it would have actually changed a lot of things, I feel. And I could be wrong. It could have actually not changed much at all. I could be mistaken in that it would have steered me away from a lot of shit that I'm not perceiving to be inevitable. But to me, it just seems like that might have actually been it. That might have been the one moment and chance and opportunity I might have actually had. Because it feels like I didn't have a chance in hell at impacting the way things played out at any other moment, from the moment I met him to now, obviously. But it feels like that was the one moment that might have actually existed, that could have changed things if there was just one choice or moment, you know? I don't know. That one fucks with me a lot. I try not to let it fuck with me too much, especially with all the uncertainty considered, like I said, because I am aware that for all I know I'm wrong, and that, just like everything else, may have been a moment that no matter what choice I made, gave me no more or less power than I had to impact the way things unfolded. But there is a little something that, like, irks me about it. Like, I wish, like, I really don't want to be someone that lives my life with the mentality, like, God, if I could go back in time. I really, like, despise and refuse to live that way and think that way, but, God, I mean, that would be the perfect moment, especially since that moment came before the death of my friend Dude Man. So, in making a different choice in that regret, that may have also killed two birds with one stone. Not to be funny with the whole death factor with Dude Man. That may have also changed. Dude Man might still be here too. It's a whole other conversation why I feel so responsible for. But it's true. I mean, that would be the best moment to choose to go back to change and do differently. Because it comes before my other two regrets happen. I, like, don't even want to talk about it ever again. And I pretty much, like, have been trying to not ever talk about it ever again. But since I'm sitting here identifying my regrets, that if I could change and do over again, I would. Somehow. even though I don't know how I would have changed the outcome. When I found out about my inheritance, I would have not told a soul. And just totally would have spent the money differently, completely different. I would have somehow figured out a place to keep it that was safe. When I found out about my inheritance, I would have not told a soul. Just totally would have spent the money differently, completely different. I would have somehow figured out a place to keep it that was safe. I just can't, there's just so much to that whole, I just can't even get into it. I'm so upset about it. I really fucked up with that. Huge. There's so many levels and dimensions to that whole issue and that whole regret that I just can't even spend too long thinking about it. It makes me want to throw up and kill myself. So yeah. But I know that I don't regret any of the money I gave away. In fact, there's certain people I wish I gave money to that I didn't end up giving money to. But, and I'm not talking about money that I owed people that I did pay. I'm talking about there are lots of random ass people I by random selected and just randomly sent hella money to or gave money to, in person. I don't regret any of that shit. In fact, I wish I gave more of it away. I wish I went to more like random cities with like lots of homeless, people and just hunted down more people and helped them, individuals, with my money. And I guess I'm grateful, thank God, my dumbass didn't spend any money on buying any land in America anyway, because knowing what I know now, I would have ended up regretting it. So I guess that would have been number 4, or still, maybe that regret would have made it on my top 3 regrets.